Look around you. Be honest. Do you ever feel like the world is upside down? Like the loudest voices drown out the wisest ones? Like power seems to fall into the hands of the reckless, while the kind, the honest, and the thoughtful are left behind? If you've ever wondered why stupidity feels louder than intelligence, why corruption seems to outpace honesty, why those who care are crushed, while those who exploit rise, this video is for you. Because what you're feeling isn't just paranoia. It's not just you. There's a pattern hidden in history, psychology, and philosophy that explains why the world keeps rewarding the worst among us. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. We like to believe we live in a meritocracy, that the smartest, kindest, and hardest working people will naturally rise to the top. But history laughs at this myth. Time and again, the people who gain influence are not the wisest, but the boldest. Not the most moral, but the most ruthless. Not the most honest, but the most cunning. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German theologian who resisted the Nazis and was executed for it, once wrote about the greatest danger to humanity. Not evil, but stupidity. Why? Because stupidity is more contagious than malice. You can fight evil with truth, but against stupidity, logic bounces off like a rubber ball against stone. Think about it. A malicious person knows they're doing harm, but a stupid person can become the tool of malice without even realizing it. And when masses of such people gather, they become an unstoppable force. This is why Bonhoeffer believed stupidity was more dangerous than outright wickedness. Plato warned of this in the Republic. He feared democracy could collapse into tyranny, not because people loved tyranny, but because they could be seduced by the appearance of strength. Give people a silver tongue and empty promises, and they'll follow the loudest voice into disaster. Sound familiar?
Nietzsche went even further. He saw how morality itself could be twisted to favor the herd over the individual. For Nietzsche, the danger wasn't just that fools rise to power. It was that society actively punishes brilliance, too smart to survive, in a world where mediocrity feels safer, more comfortable. Machiavelli, more cynically, advised rulers to abandon illusions of virtue. He understood that nice guys rarely win in politics. The prince who pretends to be moral while ruthlessly pursuing power will always outmaneuver the genuinely good leader. History, sadly, agrees with him. But why do we, ordinary people, keep feeding this cycle? Why do we vote for liars, idolize influencers who flaunt wealth, or follow leaders who don't care about us? The truth is uncomfortable. We're wired for it. Psychologists call it the halo effect. If someone looks confident, wealthy, or charming, we unconsciously assume they're competent and worthy of trust, even if they're hollow inside. Our brains would rather cling to a beautiful illusion than wrestle with a messy truth. Social media has supercharged this. Outrage spreads faster than wisdom. Lies travel further than facts. And stupidity, especially loud, performative stupidity, gets clicks, shares, and votes. The algorithm rewards noise, not nuance. And in a world where attention equals power, the worst rise by design. Imagine two people walking into a crowded room. One is thoughtful, hesitant, careful with words. The other is brash, confident, unafraid to say anything, even if it's wrong. Who do people notice? Who gets remembered? It's the second one every time. The tragedy is that we confuse noise with truth and arrogance with competence. And slowly, the thoughtful voices, the quiet geniuses, the honest leaders, the genuine truth-tellers, fade into the background. They're too careful to play the game, and the game doesn't reward carefulness. Maybe you've felt this in your own life, at school, at work. Maybe you've seen someone less capable get promoted simply because they were louder, flashier, or better at pretending. Maybe you've been overlooked, not because you weren't good enough, but because you weren't willing to sell your soul. Here's the hardest pill to swallow. The worst only rise because we let them. Every click, every view, every vote, every time we laugh at a fool instead of ignoring them, we feed the machine. Machiavelli said people don't really want freedom, they want security. And in our hunger for safety and simple answers, we choose comforting lies over uncomfortable truths. We don't just tolerate stupidity, we enable it. So, maybe the world isn't just rewarding the worst people. Maybe, deep down, we prefer it that way, because it saves us from having to face our own complicity.
Plato believed the answer was education, raising people to value wisdom over spectacle. But even education has been corrupted. Today, education itself often feels like a scam, producing workers, not thinkers, obedience, not wisdom. Nietzsche would argue that the only true antidote is individual courage, the willingness to think for yourself, even when it hurts, to refuse the easy herd mentality, even when it isolates you, to endure being misunderstood, mocked, or ignored, rather than betray your own mind. And Bonhoeffer would remind us that stupidity isn't defeated with logic, but with resistance. That means refusing to participate in systems that elevate fools, even when it costs you. Maybe honesty really is for losers. Maybe the wise will never rule the world, but that doesn't mean they're powerless. History is written not just by the victors, but by the thinkers who plant seeds for the future. Socrates was executed by his city. Nietzsche died mad and ignored. Bonhoeffer was hanged. Yet their ideas still shape us today. The worst may rise in their lifetime, but the best echo for centuries. So why does the world keep rewarding the worst people? Because stupidity is contagious, arrogance is loud, and comfort is seductive. But here's the quiet truth. You don't have to play that game. You can choose to live differently, to think more deeply, to refuse to reward the shallow, and instead nurture what lasts. In a world that rewards the worst, maybe the most radical act is to stay good anyway. To be the seed that doesn't sprout overnight, but grows into a tree future generations will rest under. And maybe that's the real reward. Not power, not recognition, but the knowledge that even in a world upside down, you refuse to become what it wanted you to be.